Week. Tim, I feel so bad for you. I hope you got your car in between these shows. We were saying you've got to drive all the way back up there. If you didn't, how is it going?
It's going well. Don't feel bad for me. I'm actually kind of enjoying it in a sick sort of way. Yeah, another spring snowstorm to hit Chicago. This one's really tough to take because we just made it through a very easy-peasy winter. It was the 5th warmest winter on record. We only had 18 inches of snow, almost a foot below average. It was the 38th least snowiest winter on record out of over 150 winters, and now we're getting blasted with a spring snowstorm. Well, Chicago's had a few doozies in terms of spring snowstorms. I'm going to go over some of the top 3 or 4 worst spring snowstorms to ever hit Chicago. Just to kind of review, we shouldn't be surprised. March averages about 5.5 inches of snow every year. So number 1 on the list, we got to go all the way back to 1930. And you'll see this picture of this old-time car, which I just love. This was the worst snowstorm to ever hit during the month of March in Chicago. 19.2 inches of snow fell back on March 24th through 26th, lasted over 44 hours, just under 44 hours. Continuous snow reported. Actually, the National Weather Service office was at the University of Chicago back then. Number 1 on my list for March spring snowstorms is number 6 on the all-time list for snowstorms for Chicago. It was a case of weather whiplash back then because about a week prior to that storm hitting, they were in the 70s. And this next picture looks cool too. It's from the same storm. These are trolley cars, people digging out from the snow. Now, number 2 on the list, I couldn't find any pictures of, but it happened a year later, 1931, March 7th and 8th. 16.2 inches of snow came down in the second worst spring snowstorm it hit during the month of March, and it's number 7 on the all-time list for Chicago. About 20,000 people who had to dig out the snow. The cover of the Chicago Sunday Tribune said 20,000 dig city out of snow. And a lot of those were men that were out of work for several months because of the Depression. They got paid to dig the city out of snow. Number 3 on the list, this storm, we have to fast forward about 82 years. This storm hit about 11 years ago on March 5th, 2013. And again, some of the same areas targeted for some heavy snow included our northern suburbs. Homer Glen, actually that was southwest of the city, got almost a foot of snow. Yorkville got 11.7 inches, 11.3 inches in Orland Park, 9.2 inches at O'Hare. And finally, number 4 on my list, this one occurred just about a year ago. I referenced this earlier. A year ago almost, it was March 9th and 10th, 2023. Same areas hit, northern Lake and McHenry County, very reminiscent of this storm system, about 6 to 9 inches of snow. Bull Valley had 9.6 inches of snow. Right now I'm in Volo in Lake County, and behind me is the Volo Museum. And we came through here earlier today on our way to McHenry County, where the winter storm warning is still in effect. And we could barely see that train and the helicopter because the visibility had dropped to about 1/4 of a mile. It's better. You can see everything pretty clearly here. It's a pretty snow. That's the best thing I could say about it. But it's still coming down. And right now it's a little bit finer. The snowflake's not quite as big, but some spots north and west of here are still getting snow at the rate of about 1/2 inch to nearly 1 inch an hour, Sylvia. So still coming down up here in our far northern suburbs.
Hard to